Hey guys. So I guess I should do something more festive, take my hair down, wear a different color, put some stuff on my nails. But, put like, but I don't know. We're at 100,000. Congrats to all of you, to the channel. And I don't really feel like sitting here and playing with my hair and worrying about how I look. So let's do this. There's a lot of questions you guys ask. Where did my syntax go? There are a lot of questions that you guys have been asking. I've been thinking and talking in different languages lately, and it's just been a little confusing in my mind. And I thought I would take this time to just answer some of them because they come up a lot, and some of you may be thinking, well, she never answers that question, or we've asked that question over and over again. And this seems like a good time to answer those questions because we're at 100,000 and let's get to know each other a little bit better, yeah? So, number one question, where are you from? I'm Pakistani. Pakistan. I'm from Pakistan. My father was actually born in India because there was no Pakistan back then. And my mother is from the Kashmiri Mountains, which was already on the side that became Pakistan. So I'm a mix. Where were you born? I was born in Pakistan. I came to New York when I was 2 weeks old. I think this is why I like to travel so much, because I was traveling a lot at like 2-3 weeks old, and it never stopped. My mother is an avid traveler and doesn't believe in leaving small children home. She believes that children should be out and eating at nice places and traveling with you and learning how to behave in those environments. So very strong Aries upbringing in that way. I've often gotten from the brown people, were your parents arranged? Because I don't kind of look at relationships that way. No, they weren't. They were both in the Army and the Air Force, and they met when they were both in the Army, I think. So they had what's called in brown world a love marriage. Let's move on. I love your necklace. What is it? Where can I get it? Thank you. The necklace is from Saudi Arabia. My mother actually, had it made for me the year I was born. And it says Allah, which is the Arabic word for God. Where can I get it? You can't. It's like a vintage piece from the late 70s that was created on like a machine that gives this, the gold is, it's 24 karat and the gold is serrated to give this, shining. However, I am talking to a goldsmith in Pakistan who I really love, and I send him all my stuff because I'm allergic to anything that isn't 24 karat. I'm allergic to metals, silvers, everything. Anything I put it near my skin, it makes me break out. If you've often wondered why I don't wear earrings, this is why. Because for some reason, even the pure gold ones will unless they're like pure gold, they'll make my ears swell up. So hypersensitivity to metals. However, so what I was saying was I am in talks with a wonderful goldsmith in Pakistan who I adore. And if he decides to create this mold, then it will be available. Then I'll be able to take orders for that. But that would probably be towards the end of the year. I'm taking a trip out there, inshallah, probably around September. And because I'm going to Maldives, inshallah, I'm going to Maldives. So it's like 2 hours from there. So I'll like hop there and then there. And if all goes well, then you guys should be able to buy this. I don't want to have some weird like option where it's only available in like 24 karat, because that's just like, you know, like you'll be able to get it in like a finish that you prefer or can afford. So there's that. I thought you didn't wear nail polish. I thought it was about formaldehyde. It is about formaldehyde. Nail polish has stuff in it that is that are endocrine disruptors. They're very bad for your hormones, for your hormonal balance. The versions I've been wearing are formaldehyde free, or like, what's it called? Safe nail polishes. However, that having been said, you see how I like slip into other. I don't know how I got started painting my nails again, and I don't really appreciate it that much. I go through little like phases where I'll do it, even with the nice stuff, and then I'm just like, what am I doing? It's the same but more severe with earrings. Every time I put on a pair of earrings, no matter what, I'm like, I look like a clown. Why did I do this to myself? Take these off me. But it's also, I think, because, and this is another question that weirdly has come up a lot in the DMs, why are you always hiding your ears, or are your ears freakishly small? Okay, so my ears are freakishly small. They're like super tiny, and they're like a little bit pointy. See that? So no, I don't hide my ears, but like I think I have like elf ears, so I don't really need earrings. So I don't hide them. I just don't like to like, you know, it's like I was thinking about this the other day. I have a friend that I went to go see, right? My childhood friend that lives in Geneva. And we were talking about how women who, we went to grammar school together. So, you know, when you are like endowed, it's a problem in grammar school because it just kind of happens all of a sudden and you're like, oh my God, and everyone's weird. So I kind of naively asked her, like, how come, you know, girls like you and me were always like covering up, but women who like get breast implants are always showing them off? And she was like, well, because they don't understand, they don't live through the part where it's dangerous. You know, like when you're small or when you're young or very vulnerable and you are endowed, then you sense very keenly the danger involved, the threat that it can be. And so that informs your clothing choices. And you hide them more than you show them off. And this may not be true for everyone, but I'm only using it as an analogy anyway for my ears. Like I guess I feel like I have really nice ears, which is a weird thing to say, so I don't really feel like showing them off even more. Weird question, but there's a subset of people out there who have been like obsessing over my. I'm sorry the rest of you had to listen to that weird shit. What else? Tell us about your hair and skin regimen. I'm sorry for those of you who are looking more for the astrological, so I'll get to that too. But this stuff, like, everyone asks. So let's go through the basics. I can only tell you what I'm using right now and what I think, because it does change. It does change a lot. But I can also tell you the few tenets that I have that I feel on a deeper level, on a cellular level, make a difference. Okay, so not wearing antiperspirant, using the rock salt deodorant, rock salt, you know, that creates the salt plugs underneath your arms, not getting laser hair removal because it kills the sweat gland next to it. Really scary stuff. Not using endocrine disruptors, you know, parabens, phthalates, all that in your soaps, in your detergents, wherever you can get away with it, right? No perfumes, no dyes in anything. Pick like one really nice perfume that you like and, you know, just like go crazy. But something that's not going to kill you, right? Something like that's purely for the smell, not like one smell in your towels and one smell in your home and one smell. All those things are contributing to a level of oxidant pollution that like you can't even imagine. So like just getting rid of all that stuff, right? Using an eye cream that you can actually use in the top of your eyelids and not just the bottom, because it's so toxic that if you put it on the top of your eyelids, it'll seep through into your eyes and cause you damage. Okay, well, if something's that damaging, it shouldn't even be near your eyes. And I'm talking big companies, right? You can go to La Prairie and you can ask them, can I use this on the top of my eyelid? And they'll say no. No, because the skin is too thin, and so the product will seep into the bloodstream and into your eyes and damage it. Well, then you shouldn't be using it. You know what I mean? Like, so I've been using argan oil as an eye cream. You can just pour that stuff into your eyes if you wanted to. You can drink it, you can eat it as a nutritional supplement all the way around the eyes all the time. And I mean all the time. I mean, when you wash your face and you're about to put on your makeup, delay everything by 10 minutes because you're putting oil all over your eyes and waiting for it to dry before you put on your primer or whatever. Take your makeup off with it. Put it on before you get in the shower. Put it on when you get out of the shower. Put it on before you go to bed. Put it on first thing when you wake up in the morning. I have only done this just because once I got into the habit of it, it just felt so good that like my skin would feel weird if I didn't have it on. But I can see now how like throughout the years, it's because I started using that Josie Maran stuff the year or the minute it came out. So however long her company's been around is how long I've been using it as an eye cream. I have used Creme Ancienne by Fresh as a supplemental eye cream that's more of a traditional eye cream. It's also very thick though. But it's great. If you can't like make the transition all the way to oil, I would definitely try it because it's good. Aside from that, so that's the eye stuff. Clarins has really been, fantastic. I'll tell you what I use, but let's start with the facial wash, right? So Biotherm has a like anti-pollution oil, a face oil that's you start dry and then you wash with, and then you can like activate it with water and you can take your eye makeup off, everything with it. I've never tried anything that you can get your mascara off with that didn't dry at least the skin under the eyes. I never tried anything that didn't do that. And this stuff is like, you feel like you've washed your face and already moisturized it again. So like super good. And it makes sense, because in Denmark, the weather right now is brutal. Not that it's really cold. It's not. It's just that it's dry in terms of the water and the calcium content in the water, and then the heat that you need to pump through, the house because it's cold out. Those two things can be really drying, and I have a tendency to take really hot showers, which I'm trying to get out of. So for me, like finding a product that I can like wash my, makeup off with, it doesn't tighten the skin or doesn't, after, I don't know, a minute, if you don't put something on, you can start to feel nothing like that. If you put nothing on, you probably get away with it. It's that good. So that for washing the face. And then for a toner, I've been using, like I mentioned, the Fresh eye cream, Creme Ancienne. I've been using the toner. And so the kind of the backstory of that line there is that it is a formula that was created for the gladiators in ancient Rome. It was a salve that was used for rapid wound healing. It's made from a recipe that this particular one monastery has. They're the only ones that have it, and they're the only ones that know how to make it. And apparently they've been making it the whole time. So, or they made it back then and they still had the recipe, and Fresh kind of restarted the whole thing. And so now they make that stuff for Fresh. They make it in a cream, the original stuff that they used to make back then. They make it in a toner and an eye cream, and there might be one other product, I'm not sure. So when I was at Fresh is it in Soho? I think it's in Soho. The one downtown. The guy in there is super helpful, really nice. He was telling me how, because LVMH owns Fresh, there are things that they get away with that are kind of, I don't want to call them vanity projects, but more of just a luxury product that's probably not making very much money. It's something they can try to increase their cachet as a brand more than, a money kind of making product, because it might not gain the traction of something that has much more of a wider appeal, but you have this sort of exclusivity. And brands can only afford to do that when they have this really rich, powerful, parent company who can absorb that loss through all the various other companies that they control. So because of that, Fresh does have this wriggle room, you can say, in terms of products and what they can put out, because they're not necessarily concerned about their bottom line. And, you know, for better or for worse, they are part of like this larger conglomerate. But one of the things it does afford them is that freedom of not being anchored to their bottom line, which is rare, right? Which is rare. Just the way our business models are set up and the way capitalism is set up, it's rare to have a company that doesn't need to take that into account. So, you know, kudos to that. Go Salma Hayek. So there's that. What was that about? Oh yeah, the toner. So the toner I use is the Crème Ancienne toner. The reason I don't use, and the way you're supposed to use it, and I feel like I really need to mention this because the guy in the store was like, you know, very specific. He was like, no, this stuff is too precious. Because I was like, can I use this with some cotton to take my And he just looked at me like, so here's the deal. It's too nice of a product to use as like a second makeup remover. And if you needed a second makeup remover, if you need a second makeup remover after you use the biotherm oil, which you will not, then I would use the Water Comfort Clarins liquid makeup remover, where you just use it with a cotton. But then after you're done with those two steps, the way the Crème Ancienne toner is used is you just like aftershave, you pour it into your hand and you just press it into the face. Not even on the cotton because you don't want to waste it. You just press it right into the skin. It's fantastic. There's that. So, I mean, there's so many products. This is why I never get into it, but like happy 100K, right? So that's the toner. Then after the toner, I have discovered this product by a company here in Denmark called Evivir. And it is a 99.9% organic just aloe product. And it's in a spray bottle. It's not a gel, it's just a water-based, you know, aloe product, but it's all aloe. Camera froze. I don't know how they stabilize it or whatever, but I mean, the product is just phenomenal. And especially if you are of the melanin persuasion, if you have more melanin than less, you will adore this product because what it's doing is it's leading to skin clarity. One of the things that aloe does is it levels you out. Levels you out in terms of pH, it levels you out in terms of coloring, it lightens dark spots and evens out light spots. It's just like this miracle plant, right? So I started using it just as a spray. After my toner, I would spray my face with it and then wait, you know, and let it just absorb because I was having, I was stressed out just in life and like, I have to be really, really careful when I stress because like I was talking about, I have this skin hypersensitivity. So I break out in hives if I stress and it can get really bad. So I was, you know, I had gone to get this product just to have something to spray on my body when the hives were breaking out. And I loved it so much that I used it on my face one day and immediately I could just see like the clarity in my skin and in my skin tone. And I was like, oh, word, this is what we're doing? Okay. So spray the face with it, let it, you know, let it dry. It only takes a second. And then what? Right. And then I've been using something called Clarins. It's the Hydro Boost. It's the blue bottle, the blue squat, you know, a water-based cream. It's fantastic and it's not enough on its own. So luckily, they have this additional product that you buy with it. Because the cream is water-based, you put the cream on first and then you put the serum on. Most of the time, it's the other way around, but because they've kind of switched consistencies, which is very clever because people like me who have very, very, very minuscule pores, like almost just indetectable, larger molecule moisturizers don't work for us. Immediately we'll break out in cystic acne because the molecule gets in there and can't get out, right? And just like clot, it's awful. So water-based creams, at least for me, is the only way to go. And I'll explain how I'm able to wear the oil on my face at night. I'll get there. So, excuse me. The water-based cream, right? The blue squat bottle. The water-based cream first, and then it dries pretty quickly, but I don't like to wait for it to dry. The serum is the same color, blue bottle, and just, you know, a couple pumps of that, and it's like blue oil. It's weird looking. And you just press it on top of what you already put on, and you're like great. Like, it's so good. For a primer, I have been using a primer by Decium, by the Hylamide company. They make a primer, the Hylamide primer, but and it has not made me break out, which is amazing because every primer I've ever tried has been a disaster. So like, it is the bomb of primers, and you can wear it by itself and it just soft focuses you. It's the bomb. It's great. I have nothing bad to say about it. I just got tired of doing so many steps. I don't know. I go through these phases where I just want really, really breathable skin, and that's just not what you're going to get if you're wearing a primer anyway. However, I think I spoke too soon, because then on the way to Geneva, I stopped in the airport just to, like, of course, fuck around and buy more makeup. Of course. And I saw this Dior. So there was a Indian girl there, and I was like, okay, dope. Let me go talk to this chick, right? She's gonna like be able to like, because our skin tones are so weird that like my face is like 6 shades lighter than my body, and then like my shoulders are as light as my face, but then my arms are just, like, yeah, like brown people, you're all like, yes, yes. I like to say we're naturally contoured. So, I mean, we kind of are. Like, if I take all this makeup off, it's not even all that, I'm not even wearing it, but if I take this makeup off, like, this part of my eyelids is still purple. I used to get in trouble in school and just rub my makeup off. There's nothing there, bro. That's my eyelid. So I was in the airport fucking around looking at makeup, and I asked this Indian girl, I was like, yo, I've been using these NARS matte sticks, you know, but the weather is crazy and so dry, and I just like, I use these sticks and I look at myself in the mirror and I don't even know who I am. Like, I'm feeling mad depressed about this. And she just took all my, you know, everything I was throwing at her, and she was like, I know what you need. You need a good concealer. You need something that you can wear all over your face. And I was like, oh my God, that's what I used to do when I was younger, because the concealers are always the right color, but the foundations are never the right color. And she was like, right, because your undertone, because of your undertones. She's like, you've got like this light, and so you need something that's brightening, because it's what actually matches your tone, which is always going to be the concealers and not the foundations. And I was like, oh, this bitch is breaking it down. So it was great. And her face was flawless, you know, so she was working it. So you couldn't tell she was wearing any makeup. Like, I loved it. So she takes me over there, and there is, it's now, see, it's not, she's so smart. It's not a foundation, and it's not even a concealer. It's a corrector stick by Dior that has a primer and a color corrector in it. But the color they're trying to correct you to is my color. So she took it out and she put it on my hand, and I was like, oh. And it has a primer moisturizer in the middle, and I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like, is this for real? And she was like, I knew that was your color. And I was like, whoa, are you wearing this color? And then she threw some brown girl shade at me, because she was like, no, I'm wearing the lighter one than that. And I was like, no, it's all right. I don't care that you're lighter than me. That's fine with, you know what I mean? But there's always that, like, so I was like, oh yeah, okay, you know, good. It looks perfect on you, you know? And she was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And when I first discovered it, I was wearing it all over my face. And I was like, well, you're not wearing it all over your face now. And she was like, no, I don't have to wear as much. And so I was like, okay, she's hitting all the right marks. So I got that. So I'm not using a primer, but I am using basically a color corrector stick that has like a moisturizer primer in it. It's by Dior. It's the one for face, eyes, and lips. Like, you can use that stuff all over your face. It's amazing. And I have just been using it, you know, where I'm not so even and symmetrical, just to kind of cheat those places. And where I am, I just leave those alone. And because the color match is so good, you know, I haven't had to cover my whole face in anything, which is fantastic. Not just for you guys, because I can get ready so much quicker and be in front of the camera and doing, you know, the readings, but also just, you know, walking around. It's interesting to notice, especially here in Denmark, how different the reaction is when one's skin is showing. That's really the way to put it. This stuff, your skin still shows. So there's that. Now, in terms of, so that's what I've been using in terms of like foundation, concealer. Everything is just that one stick, yeah. And then Estee Lauder has a great concealer that I will use on the days when I'm gonna like do something where I know I'm gonna be in front of the camera, or it's gonna be like all day of shooting or all day of taking photos or whatever. So just going over where the primer stick is now, and then it's like you're locked down, because I think that's the double wear concealer and it's fantastic. And for brown girls, it works really well. The tones, like they actually got it right. I tried on some of the actual Dior foundations. Oh, they were such garbage. Not because of the foundation, not because of the consistency, not anything, but the colors were a joke. I mean, I was kind of offended. Like, the colors were a joke. Even the colors that looked dark, had white, gray, pink undertones. I was so confused. Like, I actually looked at the girl in the shop and I was like, how did Dior fuck up this bad? And she was like, actually, I don't know. Because this is so close-minded. So, if you're watching, can you step up your game? Because this is embarrassing. Like, it's 2017. You got like millions and millions and billions of women out here who don't fit in your color palette. Fenty's making all this money and y'all still in the dark. Who works there? Who works here? Can we talk to somebody in charge? Who works here? Okay, so there's that. Also, on my Strange Ramblings, I am going to talk about Jeffree Star. And how he was throwing around the N-word and thinking that he could talk to black women that way, and how we all kind of just look the other way and don't give a shit that Sephora and all these other people still sponsor him. I'm not letting that go. I'm not letting it go at all, actually. We will come back to that. We'll do that in the Strange Ramblings, though. We don't get too aggressive. The 100,000 special, right? We're just going to keep it friendly. So, what else? Well, okay, Dior blush. Amaze. There's like one that's peach, one that's pink, one that's like peach pink. I don't know what the name of the color is, but they've got like 6. Again, very limited range. Brow Wiz Benefit, the silver one with the one end with the comb and the one end with the angled pencil. Bomb. Instead of doing the whole like thing that I used to do, I've just realized that I tweezed the fuck out of my eyebrows when I was a kid right there. And so I just fill them in right there and I leave the rest because I realize that I don't really know what I'm doing. And like my face already does. So let's just leave it alone. And just for the record, my Libra Scorpio cusp father has been telling me my whole life to leave my eyebrows alone and that I'm a fool. And I've never listened. The first time I tweezed my eyebrows, he didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. Mad dramatic. Mad dramatic. So there's that. So that's brows. Okay, mascara and eyeliner. I've really been loving this Essence stuff. The Essence stuff is bomb. I'm really impressed at the price point and the quality of the product that you're getting. And like, I like expensive stuff too. You know what I mean? Like but if it works, it works. The eyeliner is so black. It's like patent leather black. I love it. I just tried the brown Kajal pencil today. I love it. The Extreme mascara in the black tube and in the pink tube, they're both dope. I love it. Just fantastic. Max Factor 2,000 calorie lash is also fantastic. I use the Extreme lash, and then I just like right before it dries, I use the 2,000 as like a comb to like even it out. However, I can do that because I naturally have double sets of lashes on the top and on the bottom. I don't know how. However, I will say this. If you can stand it, and I do it just because my eyes are so sensitive that I need to constantly clean them out, onion water makes hair regrow. So as vile as it sounds to put onion water in your eyes, and like, I'm not a doctor, I'm not telling you to do this. If you like burn the shit out of your eyes, please don't blame me. Like, I'm just telling you what I do. Don't do what I do unless you got like a mom like mine who's done it a million times and knows that it's gonna be fine. Whatever you need to do to not blame me for this. I'm just don't pin this on me. But I went through this period where Like I got some like product that I probably shouldn't have taken. The whole vibe was just weird of the whole thing. There were like overtones of all kinds of like, this is someone who had gone to like witches before and stuff. I don't know. I just shouldn't have gotten into what I got into there. I'm too open hearted sometimes. So I got like right on my waterline. I got like a bump, like a sty on my eye. It was minor, but it scared me. I talked to my mom and she was like, okay, well, that's just because your eyes are shaped like mine. You get stuff in your eyes all the time. And I was like, no, well, I took this questionable product. And she was like, okay, well, I don't know where you got that. You didn't get that naivete from me. But anyway, um, squeeze an onion and like put some of the drops of the water that comes out in a spoon and, drop it in your eye. And I was like, are you like all the way crazy or, and I looked it up and I was like, whoa, this is like acid. And it's like, oh, no, I'm not doing this. And a couple of days later, my eye was like mad swollen over here and she just lost it and was like, are you going to do it? Are you going to do it right now? You're going to do it right now, because if something happens to her kids, like she takes it real personal, like not like it's happening to us, it's happening to her. I had 3 C-sections. I can't believe you didn't put the onion water in your eyes after I cut myself open to get you up. Just like on 100 all the time. So I did it because she, basically like yelled me into it, which is fine. Like I appreciate my Aries. And I did it and it really worked. Actually, I could feel where exactly the lymphatic fluid was coming from into the sty that was trying to fight whatever was there. I mean, it was crazy. It didn't even hurt that bad, but also don't go with me on that because I cut onions and my eyes don't water. So like I think I have like a natural, maybe because like I don't know, they're hooded or whatever, but I just don't get stuff in my eyes like vapor wise. I get stuff in my eyes like wind wise, but not vapor wise. Anyway, so yes, my eyes did tear. Yes, it did hurt, but not the way I thought it was going to hurt. And it fixed the whole thing. And so what I started doing then, because Virgo moon preventative crazy, I started doing it like once every 1.5 weeks, just for like a second. And I noticed where on this side in a bout of self-hate when I was like, I don't know, 12 or something, someone in school had made fun of my lashes and said that it was like really gross that I had really long lashes on the ends here. Can you believe that? Yeah. So this side was fine, but this side I had actually pulled some of them out, and they never grew back. And I was just like, oh, weird. Like one side, like the lashes just aren't there over here. Okay. I thought they'd grow back, but they didn't. So when I started doing this and started putting the onion water, they grew back. And I was like, oh, word. So once I realized that, I started doing it all the time. And I put it on my eyebrows just because. Like, this is all my hair. But just because. I don't know. Just to do it. I mean, if it works, right? So there's that. Next. I like to line the inside waterline up there. But the only reason I do it is because I wear daily disposables. If you wear normal contacts that you can't throw out every day, don't do that shit. I have a contour kit by NARS that it's like part of the holiday collection that they came out with. Or it might have been the Man Ray collection where it's like 2 pretty dark contour colors and then 4 highlighters. It's bomb. But I don't really use it that much. Derm. I have a dermatologist that I adore. She's amazing in every way. My sister-in-law actually works with her. She understands my face completely. She always knows what I want. It's like a joy working with her. I'm actually going to go back to her before I go to Jamaica in February, and have my stomach tightened right here. Not the body itself. I'm a yoga instructor, right? So like I'm in shape, but the skin that was stretched out. She just does amazing things for the face, for the body, everything. So I'm going to link all this stuff below. So her info will be in there as well. Her name is Dr. McGregor. She's dope. So where does that get us to? Finishing spray. Oh, how could I forget? Setting powder. Whoa, if you have not tried the Dior setting powder, good Lord. I was on some Kat Von D, on some this, that, banana powder. I don't know what the hell. Like, my powder journey has just been bizarre. Like, I guess like everybody's, but it's just been bizarre because every time I would look at the powder before I put it on my skin would just like almost audibly, like have a reaction like, ah. So, like, no, don't put that on me. Don't put that on me. And so I picked up this Dior setting powder thinking, okay, well, necessary evil, another setting powder, but like it's got to be done. There's too much shine going on otherwise. Just, for the camera with the lights and all that. Comes with its own little brush. Whoa, man, it's incredible. You don't feel it when it's on. You can't see it. It has like some sort of invisible shimmer that's there, but it's not there. It doesn't affect your color at all, even if you're brown or golden or, I can only speak to this color. If you're darker than that, then I don't know. I don't want to say something and, I don't know. So, but I'll do a makeup thing with Yazzie when I get back, and I'll do one with my friend Ro, who is much, much darker skin than I do, so we can talk about her products, so on, so on. So, finishing spray. I love the Vichy thermal water or an Evian, spray, just a water spray, and then, I don't know, 3-4 hours later, just do it again. Good. Highlight. So Cover FX makes these rose gold drops that are pretty bomb for like brown skin tone, and I haven't broken out once from using it. Also really bomb, rare, because the little, mica like things in highlighters always get stuck in the small pores and it's just like a nightmare. But nothing. So bomb. There is a highlight by Joyer. Is that how you say it? I don't know. It's called Citrine. It is bomb if you're going to be on camera, but it's a little much if you're going to just be out. Like, yeah. That's also the phase I'm in. So, I'm just, it's not that I'm done with all that stuff. I just, less and less and less is more, yeah? So, I'm on my, a couple of weeks from now I'll be in Paris, and then I'll be in New York, and then I'll be in Jamaica, and then I'll be back here, and then I'll be in Geneva, and I just want a less is more, really pared down, super like, dewy, elegant thing. That's my thing for this year. So with that, I won't be really wearing highlighters very much. Like necessary to highlight here, but I would do it if I were you. But my eyes are so hooded that if I put any color here, this kind of pops out on its own. So I haven't done it because like I go from like looking like, oh, that's a dope brow bone to like drag queen, so I gotta like, not that there's anything wrong with that, it's just not my particular look. So I gotta be careful. But if I were you, I would use a highlighter. Sure, of course. I don't know about, I don't know. It's just not my particular thing right now. I'm a little tired of it. So, lips. Okay, so Comfort Oil by Clarins in the clear. Fantastic. Balm. That's what I have on right now. The Fenty Gloss Balm is dope. The original one, I wish I could find mine. I don't know where it is, but it's amazing. It suits every skin tone for sure. The Benefit lip tint, like it's rose water based, right? The red one. That's very nice as well. NARS and Sarah Moon did a collaboration on a shade called Indecent Proposal, which is a matte shade. It is perfect. It is the matte nude that you see me wearing all the time. Pat McGrath makes a pretty good matte nude, but it's a bit peachy for me. The NARS Sarah Moon one is divine. I don't know what I'm going to do when I run out of it because I don't think they make it anymore. But hey. So that's lips. I don't really use anything else on my lips. Hair. Should we go to hair? Okay. So for those who don't know the story, my dad shaved my head like 20 times when I was a kid. He just kept shaving my head over and over again. He also like pressed on my face and my nose and did all these things. All part of his Rajasthani Rajput upbringing of things you do to ensure beauty later in life. Filling the eyes with kajal every day to make the lashes grow long, filling the eyebrows with kajal every day, and we're talking like a baby, like an infant, to make the eyebrow hair come in thick, filling in the hairline. This is why my hairline comes down all the way to my eyebrows, shaving all the way to here over and over again, and then filling in the hairline with kajal to make the baby hairs come out. My mom is a nurse. She's retired. She would come home from a night shift, and every morning I would be like bald to the skin. And she was like, okay, what's going on? Like, you're losing your mind. Like, what? My dad quit his job when I was born. He's like a typical military guy. He was a drill sergeant in the military. Very, only has boys in his family. They're 8th generation military on that side. He completely freaked out when he had a girl. He didn't know what to do. I think it was his, Libra Scorpio project to be like, a daughter. So he quit his job, which made my mom really happy because she wanted to go back to work, Aries. So he raised me. After a few months, he figured out that he couldn't do it on his own, and he called his cousin who was in Dubai, like living it up, and was like, hey, you want to come hang out in New York and take care of a, 3-month-old little girl? And his cousin was like, nah, fam, not really. Like, I just finished telling you I'm living it up here in Dubai, because Dubai was popping even back then. Dubai, not even back then, like, I shouldn't say it like that. Dubai was popping. So my parents had spent a lot of time in Beirut in the 60s. Like, they just, they knew the poppin' places. Fun fact, Keanu Reeves was born in the 60s in Beirut. And his parents used to ride around in a purple convertible Jaguar. Fun facts. So my cousin, who we called my uncle because he was so much older, but my father's cousin, I guess my second cousin, was like, nah, fam, like, Dubai's popping. I'm not trying to come over there. And my dad was like, okay, no, actually, I need you to. I was just asking to be polite, because, like I said, I was going to do this, but I don't think I can do this by myself. So then my second cousin came to help him. And that was my favorite, like, relative in the whole world. Anyway, he passed away 2 years ago. God rest his soul. So his project was I guess like my aesthetic. And he also ascribes to this Sufi way of life called tariqa. And tariqa is about how you do things. So my father was raised in the school of thought and very strictly raised in it. And when you're raised in this way of thinking, you breathe it, you live it, it's in everything you do. So what's tariqa? Tariqa means the way. The way, ek tariqa hota na cheez karne ka. So tariqa means the way. And so here's a very good example. So if I put this cup here, I can go like this. Right? Now I've exhibited no respect for this computer, for the cup, for you, or, essentially for myself. Right? So ye tariqa nahi hai. This is not the way to do it. So if I were to understand this object here is actually a being of some sort, and this computer is a being of another sort, and you, even though right now you are just a potential audience, are a being of a certain sort, an energy, an energy, an energy, an energy, then if I respect this energy as I respect my own energy, then I will place this down so. And this applies to everything. It applies to wearing slippers in the house, having different slippers for different rooms. It applies to the way you sit down next to someone. It applies to the way you stand up. It applies to the tone in which you speak. It applies to how much noise you make when you eat. It applies to every single thing in your life. Rajputs, namely these military, and most of them are military, but these Rajput clans, they're the ones that have converted. So my father's family, I think they converted like 5 or 6 generations ago from Sikhism. They're very big on this Sufi idea. Very big, very big. And so while my older brother, who was raised in Pakistan, he was raised there for the first 5 years, typical Brown story, you can see very clearly in him that he's like much more like, hey, oh, hey, what's going on? And it's such a marked difference in me because, you know, my dad was teaching me this stuff from jump. And so when you see my older brother and I together, it is such a contrast because he's so affectionate, so kind of, you know, loud and, you know, put stuff down and bang stuff and slam stuff, you know, and it's just like, it's fine. And I am the complete opposite. Like, I often, people are like, why are you sneaking up on me? And I'm like, I'm not sneaking up on you. I'm just walking here. You know, like people be like, oh, you scared me. Why? I'm just over here walking. I'm not trying to say, I'm just quiet, just very, very quiet in my movements and in the way I deal with my surroundings. So part of this whole way of being has to do with aesthetic as well. The thought process being that if you make the hair healthy and thick at the root, then you will not have to, and early, then you won't have to constantly be doing things to it later to, you know, make it shiny or make it lustrous or make it thicker or, you know, all that stuff. So yes, long story short, very long story short, my dad shaved my head like 20 something times. It might have been more and they're just not telling me because that's disturbing enough as it is. It's disturbing enough. And he would like rub olive oil on my bald like scalp or whatever, just whatever, Dad. So thank you, Dad. And if you like ever, if anyone anywhere near him and he can hear them says like, oh, your daughter has nice hair, he's like, oh, well, you know, of course, because I don't think he ever tells the story of what he did. He just goes, of course. So hair, what do I do? As maddening as it is, I haven't really done much ever. I have a really good hairstylist named Mark Anthony at Bumble and Bumble that I've been going to since, I want to say since I was like 30, so like 10 years straight, probably more like 12, 13 years straight. I took a little hiatus from going to him. He's just super busy. He's gotten really, really popular. There is another guy who works there who I've also gone to for about a year. And his name is Todor. It's like Theodore, but like Bulgarian for Theodore or Hungarian for Theodore. I'm so ignorant right now. I'm sorry. Like the jet lag is real. Just all the traveling and everything. It's real. So Todor is very, very good. And he has this uncanny ability to just make you look very chic, you know, and it makes sense. Like when I first asked, Mark Anthony was busy. And so I asked in the front, you know, is there anyone like to the girl, like she had like this bomb afro. She was like really just like all the things. And I was like, listen, you know, is there anyone in here who can like cut my hair? Like who can, you know, can rent? And she was like, listen, Todor is free and he's never free. Like, I don't know how you walked in and the only like appointment that he has free for like weeks to come. And then she said, we've lost him to Paris twice. Like, everyone's always trying to steal him. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And yeah, for sure. I walked out of there, Sagittarian. I walked out of there being like, chic, 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 chic. So the only thing I've really done for most of my life. Oh, so the other thing is my mom kept my hair really, really short until I was like in 7th grade or something because she just didn't want to deal with the hassle. She was busy. She was a working mom. And I'm actually really glad that she did it because there was no strain put on my hair follicles at a young age. I had no hair. And considering how heavy my hair is now, I can only imagine how much wear and tear my scalp would have taken at such a young age if, you know, if I did have hair. But I didn't. I had hair as short as a boy until 7th grade. And in 7th grade, I only had longer hair because I rebelled and my hair grew so fast that upon rebelling, you know, 4 or 5 months later, my hair was like down to here already. So I haven't done much to it except to have a consistently great hairstylist, not dyeing it at all ever and not putting any sort of treatment, not straightening, not keratin, not nothing. Not even really conditioning it, to be honest. So since I had this recent bout of changing hairstylists for a minute and coloring my hair like a fun color, the what I've realized, and this is all part of my, hair journey, is that the amount of damage done, I mean, it's intense. Like, just, it's unbelievable how damaging hair dye is to your hair. It's unbelievable. And I have super strong hair. And I just will never do it again. It's not for me. And I think that it was a way for me to actually come back around to myself. I think I was in a really weird stage in my life, and I needed to somehow prove to myself what was going on with me identity wise. I was getting through a really bad breakup. There were things going on. And so I indulged some of those destructive tendencies and did something that was really damaging to my hair. And I'm just going to be perfectly honest with you. My hair has been furious with me since I did it. It's only these past few weeks where I've dyed my hair completely black again, cut off all the, damage, and started doing argan oil once a week. I mean, lots of argan oil once a week from the root to the tip of it, just, and leaving it in overnight and then washing it out the next morning. So doing that for a couple of weeks has restored my hair, but also it's not angry with me anymore, which I can feel when it's mad at me, So in terms of hair, that's what I do. What shampoo do I use? The Aveda volumizing shampoo I tried in Geneva that my friend Redley had was amazing. So I would recommend that, even though I'm not sure how bio it is, but it's fantastic. What do I usually use in terms of shampoo? Anything. I'll use like a bar of soap. I'll use anything. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, a few days later, my hair is going to be like producing its own oils, and it's just going to turn back into what it does. Like, you can't keep it down. So I'll use anything. I should be better about it. I like the Aveda stuff. I'm trying to find a place in Denmark here where I can buy it. But yeah, so I don't have any like hair secrets. Argan oil. I eat a lot of almonds. I eat a lot of bread and sunflower seeds and butter. I drink a lot of orange juice. I don't know if these things help with your hair, skin, and nails. Oh, here's the other thing that my mom keeps telling me I have to mention when people ask about the skin and the hair and the nails. So I was apparently really spoiled. Nobody told me this, but I would not stop drinking Enfamil when I was like a baby. And so they just kept giving it to me. So, or I guess my mom just kept buying it. I don't know if my dad agreed to this or not. But I wouldn't drink any other milk of any kind. So I drank Enfamil until I was like 5, which is like super fortified vitamin milk, or whatever you want to call it. Formula is probably poison. But I got out of having industrialized dairy full of hormones and everything in my system for, I don't know, at least 10 years, because I didn't really drink milk for 5 years after I got off the Enfamil. I just didn't like it. So, and then they found some like non-homogenized milks, and that was dope. But yeah, so my mom has always attributed the fact that like women, when they cut my nails, have to use both their, and the hair being like thick and wiry and the skin being, pretty, strong and withstanding the elements, let's say, to the Enfamil. So there's that. I'd like to mention that. Also, taking CoQ10 every day. I've been taking CoQ10 for 20 years. I started taking it when I was 20. It reinforces your cell walls. Your skin has cells and they have cell walls, just like every other part of you. CoQ10 is something generally prescribed or recommended for people who've had heart problems or a heart condition or have a heart condition, because it strengthens the cell walls of your heart muscles. So CoQ10 every day, preferably with something high in fat, right? So I have like bread and butter and sunflower seeds, and then I'll take my CoQ10. Other than that, I don't take supplements, except, again, argan oil, aloe. What else? I don't like drink smoothies or anything like that. I generally eat vegetarian Indian food. Yeah. What else? Now that we've gotten off of that. Let's get to some really technical stuff now. Remember, should I watch my sun, moon, and rising? Yes. How will I know which one to watch? Watch all of them 1 month and you'll see which one resonates, and keep watching that one more than you watch the other ones. If you find that that one's not resonating, perhaps it has to do with the problem being more emotional than you think. Perhaps the problem is more cerebral than you think, in which case it would be your sun sign. If it's more emotional, it would be your moon sign. If it's a problem with dealing with people and how you're being perceived, I would watch your rising sign. However, and I'm not saying this to be conceited, if I were you, I'd watch them all, because you're going to learn about every person in your life and you'll learn how to deal with them better. Not so you can manipulate them, just so you have a better grasp of what you're doing in your interpersonal relationships, right? So there's that. How long do I have to wait after I purchase an extended reading to receive it? If you buy or rent on YouTube, it's instant. If you go through my website and buy, it'll take like a couple of hours. Why are some countries not available? I have no idea. YouTube has its own policies and its own group of countries that it offers those services to. Any country that is offered, there is the option for you to buy for that country. If it's not, then you can go to my website, because it's all there as well. It's all available to you regardless of whether you have access via YouTube or not. So that's easy. When is your book coming out? Inshallah, February. However, I have changed the narrative slightly, so there might be like a month and a half delay, but no big deal. And the first book will only be on the major arcana. The second will be on the minor cards. Will you be doing any tarot workshops or webinars? Yes, I will be doing a webinar that you'll be able to buy and watch. I don't think I'm going to do a live webinar. I think I'll do that later. But I will do a series of online course material. Yes, absolutely. It's just a matter of time. I'm probably going to work on that, inshallah, the next time I'm here, I'll be back in Denmark, May, June, July. So when are the meetups? There will be a meetup in New York, inshallah, let's say end of February or beginning of March, hopefully at the Namaste Bookshop. They're very, very nice. They're dope. I really enjoy their space. I really enjoy the vibe in there. So for sure, that's something to look forward to. I will put that info on my website and I will put it up here on YouTube as well. Let's see. Do you do personal readings? No, I don't anymore. I have tried many different iterations of how to make it work and how to still sustain doing the videos and the connectivity with you guys and still be able to do the one-to-one. And unfortunately, I find that I cannot. It is intensely draining and it leaves no energy for the broader work that I would like to do. So for now, and I can't really promise if I will change this moving forward, but for now, personal readings are not an option. I do have a tendency to do one-on-one in-person readings when I'm in New York, but this is based generally on the clientele I had before the channel, who pay quite a lot of money for their one-to-ones. Usually they're about an hour long, and they're usually money readings where people are really serious about restructuring their money and they want to know, in terms of their birth chart and everything, what they can do to better their finances. I am open to the idea of doing that, but again, be forewarned, that is a pricey thing, right? So other than that, no, I'm not doing online readings, I'm not doing Skype readings, I'm not doing any of that stuff anymore. I'm sorry, but on the other hand, right, we've got this great content coming up, and we've got great content up now, so it all evens out. Let's see, what else? What are your particular signs? Most of you already know this, but for those of you who are new, welcome. I am a Gemini sun, Cancer rising, Virgo moon, Mercury in Taurus. Uranus in Scorpio. What else do you want to know? Yeah, I was supposed to be a Cancer. My mom had me taken out early. What sign do I identify the most with? It depends. In my interpersonal relationships, for sure, the Virgo moon. For sure. I can't even help it. In dealing with the larger public or like the larger, just structure of the world, Cancerian. I always come across as a water sign. Most people mistake me for a Scorpio. So I definitely would say that that's the Cancer coming through. Because when I say, no, I'm actually a Cancer rising, they go, oh yeah, that's it. So in dealing with the world at large, for sure, rising sign. And this is how they are normally, but I'm just kind of thinking it through. I didn't even realize I was saying the formulaic answers, but it's very true. And as far as how I feel about myself and what place I come from within myself when I want to do something, when I want to speak to someone, what motivates me, what my impetus is in life, right? Those reasonings, those incentives that I have, right? That all is based around the Gemini personality. The things that get me going, the things that get me to move and do things are based in kind of this extreme love of self, I trust myself very deeply. I have this weird Gemini sun, Chinese snake, Gemini snake combination. Bob Dylan, JFK, Kanye, like Albert Schweitzer. It's just like a very wordy, wordsmithy group of people. So all my confidence comes from that, never from the way I look. That's why when people are like, oh, you care so much about the way you look. Yeah, because I'm just having fun with it. I don't really, it's so inconsequential because all my substantive, belief in myself comes from what I have up here. So that's very Gemini, to be proud of the intellect and to have your personality come from a place of intellect. That's very much a Gemini quality. So there's that. I also have my Venus and Mars in Aries. So Mars 10th house placement. It's an interesting one. It makes for quite a warrior type person, but someone who has to be quite careful who they fight for, because any sort of oppression, gets them riled up and they're ready to, to take on the cause. And yeah, very Mars heavy energy, very Aries heavy. Mars and Aries. I have a severe temper. However, and like I said, in my interpersonal relationships, the Virgo moon, you will almost never see it. It's very rare to see it, but when it's there, it's frightening. I have a frightening temper. Yeah. I have a frightening temper. Anyway, so everybody's got problems. So there's that. And generally my anger is relegated to the realm of like seeing other people get picked on, which I cannot stand. I cannot stand cruelty. And I also cannot stand disrespect. So if you're not being cruel to people or to me, or being disrespectful to people or to me, I probably won't even notice you, which is a good thing. Let's see. What other placements? Nothing that I can think of. Often the question is asked, who's your favorite sign? I have an affinity for Scorpios because they have an affinity for me, to be perfectly honest. I find most of the signs to be a bit detached from Geminis, and they don't seem to really understand us or like us. And so because Scorpios are also a bit on the outskirts of things, I find that we have commonality there. Let's see. Who else do I specifically prefer? Nobody really. Um, I like being around Aries because they're like my mom. I like being around Capricorns because they're like my brothers. I really like being around Pisceans, but I find that I only have one really close Piscean at a time. And other than that, I don't really know any. You know, they're around and I love them or whatever, but I don't really know any. I kind of like choose one. You know, like the last Pisces friend I had her for 18 years. Turned out to be a nightmare and I had to get rid of her. But, um, you know, when it was great, it was great. So there's that. Cancerians. I really like Cancerians, but I think more importantly, they like me because I hold space for them and I never push and I don't judge and I let them be and I let them be depressed if they want and lonely if they want and I let them work through their process. I'm not one of those people who's ever blown up your phone, who's calling you and finding out. Like, I don't even ask people how they are because I don't want to impose. Like, you know me, I'm your friend, I love you, fucks with me. Like, call me if you need me. I'm not over here like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm sure you're okay. And if you're not okay, you're a Cancer. I'm sure, like, you got your reasons, you know. Sagittarians. It is really the only sign I can say, like, truly, truly, I can say that I never have any sort of a hiccup in dealing with or getting along with. There's instant chemistry, there's instant, like, attraction, there's instant commonality, friendship, like, you know, and I mean, like, chemistry and attraction even in friendships. Like, there is nothing about Sagittarians that get on my nerves. I just love them. I think they're great. I don't know. They're just easy and wonderful and smart and helpful and to the point and strong and, you know, all the things I like. I don't know. Um so that's always been really easy. Who else? Libras and Aquarians I find to be a bit detached. And I've always felt that way. I think that my recent experiences have perhaps opened my eyes to a more negative side to Libras, but even before I understood that or like really lived through it, I always have this feeling with Libras that there's so much that they're not saying and so much that they're keeping to themselves and that they will say it to somebody later. And that dynamic always makes me really uncomfortable. You know, the busybody, the chatty Cathy kind of archetype, I just don't like that. I don't like it in my life. I don't like it around me. And so often what happens with Libras is that they'll come into my life and I'll be very welcoming. You know, we get on the same page, we vibe. Um, and then I'll start to notice, you know, that they gossip a lot or that they can't keep their mouths shut about stuff or that they're becoming, you know, quite jealous or competitive or there's all these things. And as I notice these things, I, you know, just pull back, pull back, pull back. And this has happened. I mean, it happened very, very like, you know, acutely recently, but even in my other relationships, I've just noticed that Libras and I have this threshold after which I start to sense a lack of grounding. You know, I was going to say lack of substance, but that's not fair. It's a lack of grounding. And as an air sign who needs grounding themselves, I have a hard time pulling on with that energy. However, that's not to say that someone who is much more grounded and has much more grounded placements don't find Libras to be delightful because they need that airy, you know, kind of quality where to me, I'm already like this and then Libra's more like that. And it's like, no, you're annoying. I can't, you know, but like from a Virgo perspective, from a Taurus perspective, from a Capricorn perspective, I can see how it's very nice, you know, to have someone who lightens things up, who gives you a different way to think, who shows you the other side or the other scale. So just me personally, I have a threshold. Let's see, who else? Aquarians. I think I mentioned this before. I've only had a couple of Aquarians in my life, and they're the only people I've ever cut out of my life. I don't generally cut people out of my life, but there's just a certain way that Aquarians seem to move when they feel that they are in competition that is what is it? It's funny to me. It's funny to me because I just find competitiveness in general funny. I don't think it's the way we evolved. I don't think that it has any merit, to be honest. I think cooperation is a lot more evolutionarily sound. And the competitive nature within Aquarians, I'm not sure if it's just I bring it out or if it's just something that exists in general. But whenever I am subjected to it, I win because I don't play, because you can't compete with me, because that's a joke. So Aquarians are always kind of, brutally rebuffed by that. They're like, why don't you play the game with me? Because I'm not going to play this game with you. You don't compare, but you don't compete, So that's always been a bit of a tenuous connection. However, like I mentioned in the Aquarian videos, I've moved on from that, and I've just decided that instead of having Aquarian friends, I should just read for you guys, and then we're good. So, perfect. Let's move on. Who else? Tauruses are great. I always feel bad for female Tauruses because I feel like they get taken advantage of by their friends a lot, and that they can be a bit like easy to lead around, it concerns me sometimes, like how much Tauruses get used. And I think people think it's because like you guys are slow or something, and you guys aren't slow. I think you're just giving chances, and you give so many chances, so that can be frustrating for me. I find that I don't really have many Tauruses in my life because after a few times of watching them get taken advantage of, I can't really see it anymore. I'm just like, why are you doing this? Like, why would you let someone do that? And then I just get stuck on that and I can't like see past it. So there's that. Leos are great. Leos tend to hold a grudge, which, I don't really mind because I try not to get on their bad side. But when they do hold a grudge, like I feel really sad for them because it eats them up. And so when they're in that grudge phase, whether it's with me or with someone else, I just stay away because it's so destructive and it's so bad for them, and they will pull you into it. And that's just a terrible place to be. Nobody wants to get pulled into like Leo self-destructive drama, and you have to be careful because they will pull you in. They won't even realize they're doing it. But better to steer clear. Virgos. Let's see. I have a really close Virgo female friend from school who's like dope, and I've always just like adored her. I have what do you call like my first like real boyfriend or my first real love is a Virgo, and he's still very much in my life and just a really supportive, just a wonderful person. So I have a very high opinion of Virgos. I do, however, think that the way that technology has progressed and the way the world is going and the way that the amount of accessibility that we have to the world has been probably the most destructive for Virgos, because when your consciousness is flooded with so many options, it becomes difficult to discern. And if your entire superpower is to discern, then this sort of information overload can be, fatal. So a lot of Virgos I find are lost, and they can't see the connection between technology, ODing on information, ODing on connectivity, and their own sense of feeling lost. They're hard pressed to make that connection. And it makes sense because on one hand, of course, Virgos are going to do things that make them smarter. So they have to be connected. They have to be plugged in. And yet the source of what is making them more intelligent is also stressing them out so much. So although I do, like Virgos very much, the difference between my Virgo that I've like had for a really, really long time is that he's not like an internet person, right? He's not a social media person. He's not an online dater. He's not any of those things. So he's still somehow pure of all that stuff. And you can see it you can see how the Virgo demeanor is then exhibited when you're not flooded with, just superfluous stuff, right? But most of the Virgos now that I know, like current or contemporary Virgos, they are really stressed out. They are really indecisive. They are completely oversaturated with images and info and options and everything. And I think it's killing them inside. I think it's really hurting them inside because they have to keep discerning, and that machine can't really stop. But the information flow isn't going to stop either. The amount of connectivity, the amount of exposure that we have to each other is not going to get less. It's just going to continue to expand. So I don't see how, I don't see where they get their comfort then. I don't see where they get the pressure taken off if things are just going to get faster and more connected. I would say meditate, or like try to unplug and center to get back to some semblance of what you are like when you don't have 1,000 options in every direction that your brain now has to make sense of. It's so exhausting. Like I can't do it. I can't be around someone who, and just like speaking from my personal life, like I can't be around someone who's plugged into every dating site, plugged into every social media thing, plugged into, friends who are on different dating sites, sending pictures of girls from that dating site. Like it's just turning into like a big, gross public bathroom online in a lot of ways. And like, I don't understand why Virgos want to stand in the middle of the shit, but I can't. I've like really, really distanced myself from a lot of Virgos, like close ones, because like it's grimy and I don't want to be near it and I don't want anything to do with it. Like it's just not me. Like you see, I'm just like, no, get away. Like I can't. And this sort of mechanical way that Virgos can go about kind of fielding people with the advent of the internet and online dating, everything, the process has become kind of gross and obvious and weird, and none of those things appeal to me. Like I don't want any of that near me. I need a completely different sort of energy. So that's them. Who's left? We did Aries, we did Taurus, we did Gemini. Yeah, we did them all, right? Okay, so there's that. What else are you guys asking? The sweaters that I wore last month are from H&M. I will start tagging the shirts that I wear, and I'll start a Pinterest so you guys can like see the looks. The Alaya shoes, I got them in Geneva. I don't know how you can get them. I'm sorry. I will start a Pinterest for shoes and clothes and all of that. Will there be a makeup channel? No, but Yazzy's going to start a makeup channel and all my stuff will be on her channel. That's really about it. So that's my sort of anticlimactic 100,000 celebration. I hope your questions got answered and I wasn't just sitting here rambling for no reason. If I was and you made it this far, thank you for sticking with me. But on a more serious note, thank you for sticking with me. We started this a year ago and about a year ago. And I didn't know. I didn't know how it would go over. I didn't really care, and I think you guys know that. But I started to care. And then I cared a lot. And then I cared a lot more. And now it feels... Hold on. If you know me, please don't do that. Please don't double, triple text me. Please don't. I don't even know who's texting me because everyone I know that actually texts me is on Do Not Disturb. I really dislike that. Anyway, so I went from please don't call me to please don't text me to please just leave me alone. Anyway, what I was saying was, then I started to care a lot, and now, and not because of some arbitrary number, just because of where we've come in our journey together, how much you trust me and how much I trust you. Now it's very important to me. You guys are very important to me. Your happiness means a lot to me. Your daily peace of mind, being able to wake up and not feel like you're the worst, like things will never get better, like no one will ever love you again, like you'll never get out of your rut, like no one understands you, like you're all by yourself. I have felt all of those things. And I see no shame in you feeling any of those things. But I am so humbled and grateful that you've allowed me to perhaps be a voice of reason or understanding somewhere in there, so that you don't feel completely alone, because you're not. So you don't feel like a failure, because you're not. Because you're not. So you don't feel like it's too late, because it's never too late. Ever, no matter what's happened. Not at all. The fact that you've allowed me, in any sense, to be a part of that process of healing and acceptance and self-love and self-empowerment is so incredible and unbelievable and satisfying on a level that I can't even begin to articulate. My heart swells with pride at what we have collectively accomplished and what we will accomplish. For example, a percentage of the extended readings proceeds for every month will go to a different charity. So as soon as I get back to New York, I will donate a portion from December's extended readings to the Bail Project, for people who essentially end up in a debtor's prison of sorts because they can't pay bail to get out and put a case together. We'll do, the month after that, we'll do a percentage to buy all new socks, like boxes and boxes of new socks for the homeless shelters in Harlem, so on and so forth. So, excuse me. I'm intensely proud of us as a collective, not just as you guys tuning in once a month and saying like, oh, what's Amber saying, whatever. More than that you learned about yourselves, that you've shared what you've learned, that you've made strides in your work, in your personal life, in your relationships, in your relationship with yourself, that you've stuck by me through my more controversial statements, that you've supported me through the bullying that we got rid of so quickly. That you've created and maintained such a safe and loving space for people to come and watch and comment and interact with each other. You guys did that. I didn't do that. I couldn't have controlled that. You see, that's a visceral thing that happens with people. There's no way for me to control that. You have given me so much. It's laughable, honestly. You've given me everything I ever wanted. Which is just freedom. Freedom to say what I think. Freedom to go where I want and do what I want. And to learn even more so I can give you even more. But make no mistake, however much you may feel that I have added to your life, it's nothing compared to what you guys have done for me. Nothing. It's nothing. It's